Hey everyone, it's Ankit. Welcome to a brand new video. Today I want to talk about a couple ETFs that you can buy that have some exposure to cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, and that maybe you might not know about, or you want to invest in crypto but don't know how to go about it. These ETFs, you might want to check them out and invest in these ETFs instead, just to be safer. If you're excited about today's video, then drop a like. It really does help out and support everything I'm doing. Leave a comment with what your favorite ETF is, or how you guys are investing in cryptocurrency right now. What cryptocurrencies are you investing in, and why? Subscribe if you're new for weekly videos on investing and about life. Let's try to hit 7,000 subscribers on this channel. With all that out of the way, let's get into these ETFs. First up, we have ProShares Bitcoin Strategy ETF, which is trading under the ticker BITO. BITO does not invest directly into Bitcoin, so that's a good thing to know. Instead, it invests in settled cash, front month Bitcoin futures contracts, which is the shortest time to maturity. The future contracts that BITO will invest in are regulated by Commodity Futures Trading Commissions. These contracts are only traded on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and are subject to rules of the CME. So keep in mind with these ETFs, futures-based products do not necessarily replicate the performance of underlying markets, incur costs as the assets roll forward the contracts it uses. BITO will open up exposure to Bitcoin to large segments of investors who have a brokerage account and are comfortable buying stocks and ETFs, but do not desire to go through the hustle and learning curve of establishing another account with cryptocurrency providers and creating a Bitcoin wallet, or are concerned that these providers may be regulated and subject to security risk. So we have Valkyrie Bitcoin Strategy ETF. The Valkyrie Bitcoin Strategy ETF launched 3 days after the ProShares Bitcoin Futures ETF went public. BTF itself is very similar to BITO in that it does not invest directly into Bitcoin, so keep that in mind when you're thinking about investing into this. Number 3 on the list is Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Grayscale Bitcoin Trust GBTC is trading at about $44.65 right now. It's one of the handful ETFs funds that are nonetheless not ETFs nor mutual funds for the matter. Instead, it is what is described as a closed-end grantor trust. This means that it issues a fixed number of shares when it goes public, and then those shares are traded over the counter. So it's an OTC. You won't see it on as a publicly traded company. GBTC shares are intended to follow the price of Bitcoin based on the CoinDesk Bitcoin price index. And the fourth ETF we have is Amplify Transitional Data Sharing ETF. It is very similar to many US cryptocurrency ETFs that it is primarily invested in equities, but it does not have a sneaky way of providing a little more direct exposure, because the SEC and the Fed right now have restrictions and a lot of investigating to do with all the Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies that are out there. But nonetheless, the ETF has 47 holdings, the top 10 of which account for 45% of the assets, which include MicroStrategy, the data analytics software company, Marathon Digital, MARA, HUT, Coinbase Global. Number 5 on the list is Bitwise 10 Crypto Index Fund. Assets under management is 1.2 billion. Expense ratio is 2.5. This ETF launched in 2017, tracks the performance of Bitwise 10 large cap crypto index. Because it is weighted by a market capitalization, Bitcoin accounts for 65% of the portfolio. That's more than doubled Ethereum at 25%. Cardano is at a distant third and at 4%. Number 6, we have Siren Nasdaq Next Gen Economy ETF. Assets under management is 278 million. Expense ratio is 0.68. Is trading at $46.12. This tracks the performance of the Nasdaq Blockchain Economy Index, which is made up of stocks that support blockchain technology or utilizes it for their own businesses. The ETF is reasonably diversified. The top 10 holdings account for 20% of its overall assets. The top 3 sectors are technology, finance, and communications. Lucky number 7, 7th on our list, is First Trust Index Innovative Transactions and Process ETF. So that's a long word. Assets under management is 135 million. 0.65% expense ratio. And it's trading under the ticker LEGR, $43. Is another equity-based cryptocurrency ETF, one that launched in 2018. It tracks the performance of the index blockchain index, an index that follows companies that have some connection to the blockchain technologies. It has an interesting weighting methodology. This ETF takes all the blockchain companies and ensures that each holding meets a specific size, liquidity, and trading minimums. It then applies a score of 1 for the companies actively developing blockchain technologies, 2 for companies actively using blockchain technologies, 3 for companies actively exploring blockchain technologies. The portfolio is capped at 100 stocks, and the index is rebalanced and reconstituted twice a year. The ETF top 3 sectors are finance, technology, and consumer discretionary. And then number 8, we have Simplify US Equity Plus GBTC ETF. Assets under management 111 million. 0.5% is the expense ratio. It is trading under the ticker SPBC. Offers very diluted exposure to Bitcoin, but that's by design. Number 9 on the list is Bitwise Crypto Industry Innovators ETF. Assets under management 80.8 million. Expense ratio is 0.85%. It's trading under the ticker BITQ. Is another equity-focused cryptocurrency ETF. This index fund tracks the performance of Bitwise Crypto Innovators 30 Index, created by Bitwise Index Service, LLC. Number 10 on the list is GlobalX Blockchain ETF. Assets under management 54.3 million. Expense ratio 0.5%. Trading under ticker BKCH at $25.89. looks to invest in companies that benefit from the global blockchain solutions market, which IDC believes could surpass $19 billion by 2024. Number 11, we have Manic Digital Transformation ETF. Assets under management, 50.9 million. Expense ratio, 0.5%. Trading under ticker DAPP at 25.55 is the value for the ETF. It's another newer cryptocurrency ETF launched in April 2021, which helps to explain why the assets are still on the low side. DAPP tracks the performance of MVIS Global Digital Assets Equity Index, which invests in companies in the digital assets economy. It is another global fund too. The US is 62%. Number 12, we have Bitcoin Strategy Pro Fund Investors. Assets under management is 14.6 million. Expense ratio is really high. It's 1.15%. You might have not heard of it, but Bitcoin's Futures Mutual Fund came to life a few months before BITO. BTCFX features a low $1,000 minimum initial purchase, as well as a moderate 1.15 expense ratio. Worth nothing is that 31 basis points of those fees are interest expenses related to borrowing down by the managers as part of its strategy. Suppose you're looking to bet on Bitcoin but don't want to own it directly, then BTCFX is the way to gain exposure while leaving the heavy lifting to the professional investors. And then the last one we have on the list, number 13, First Trust Skybridge Crypto Industry and Digital Economy ETF. Assets under management, 7 million. Expense ratio, 0.85%. Trading under ticker CRPT, and it's trading at $20. Seeks to invest in companies driving innovation in the cryptocurrency world and digital economy. And it can only launch a few weeks ago. We believe that cryptocurrency adoption represents the biggest macro trend since the commercialization of the internet. We are excited to offer investors access to a portfolio of the leading companies in this ecosystem. The portfolio of 30 holdings, the top 10 accounting for 60% of the assets. Top names such as Marathon Digital, Coinbase, MicroStrategy should be familiar at this point. The top industries are weighed by our software, capital markets, and IT services. And the median market cap is about $4.6 billion.